What I'm working on today is changing out the blend door actuator on a 2004 Toyota 4Runner. This is the new actuator, and if you'll notice, there's a slot in that hole up there. I cut that slot in there so I could go ahead and pre-start. Let's see if you can see it. So I could pre-start the screw that it mounts on, and you see it's the second one down, kind of a brassy gold color. And I've got to get both of the pegs on the arms lined up in those slots, get that slot in the bracket underneath that screw head, and then get everything else twisted in place, and ought to be pretty easy from there. A little bit of a pain in the rear to do. I had to actually go through the opening for the fresh air door going up through here. I used a swivel on an extension, Phillips screwdriver tip, and hopefully this will go easier than I think. I was able to get it out without taking everything apart, as you can see by the blower housing and everything still being in there. I looked to take that out, but something was hanging it up, and I know I didn't want to take everything out in order to do this. Man, oh man, I almost can't believe it. I was able to drop those two pegs right in those two slots, just a little bit of maneuvering, and then after that I was able to swing that top slot in the bracket right up underneath that screw head, and when I did, the other two dropped right into their slots where they got to mount in. So I'm very happy with that. Now I'm going to take and get the two bottom screws started and tight, and then I'll go back in through this hole up here with the extension and swivels and all that kind of stuff and tighten up that top one. Man, does that make me happy. Okay, I've got the screw back in here, screw back in here, a nut back here, and another screw right there. Got those back in. Now I got to put this piece of ductwork back in, and it's a little bit tricky to get in and out. You got to slide it up that way, rotate it around, get it lined up, and then snap it in place, hopefully. Okay, like I was saying earlier, I can't believe this thing went as well as it did. And of course right now I got to get all this stuff snapped back in place. Let's see if I can get it going or not. That one goes down through there, but this one is gonna go. There should be a hole right there that it goes into somewhere. Feels like it's right there, and this plugs into that, and this is going to go there. That means this one will go here. That's all in there. Now I can plug up the actuator and go back under here and tie in the blower motor. And it looks like the blower resistor back there. It's had the blower motor replaced in it before, it looks like. There we are now, all hooked up electrically again. So I believe I'm going to hook the battery back up and then try this thing out and make sure it works. Well, what I'm doing here is I'm focused in on that blend air door actuator or temperature door actuator, and right now we have it set to full cold, and I'm going to bring it up to full hot, and we should be able to see that actuator and levers and everything move. And there we go. And it's all back working now. I do have to let it run for a little while. Unfortunately, it's 90 degrees outside and I have to run it on full heat to make sure we have heat. but I think it's just a matter of putting this thing back together, which isn't that big a deal. I'll be putting the cabin air filter in it in a minute and setting the glove box and a few panels in place, and we should be good to go. Sparky out. Change out this cabin air filter, seeing how it's full of leaves and dust and crust and everything. See if I can get my hand out of the way. And that doesn't really look like the best filter in the world for this, but we're going to take it out of here and see what we can do. Get these little bits of dust and crust out of the way. Now let's see if this will go up in there. Does it fit that way? Well, that didn't want to fit exactly perfect, but I had to tuck it in there, get it up underneath these tabs, and then take a little screwdriver and push everything up into place. Now this will go back up in the hole just like this. Does that say up or down? Yep, it says up right there in the corner. I had to push that airbag connector back in place, and now we're going to ease this back up in the hole. I think